Go and just mess all of the things up that you're overthinking right now. Just go and mess it up. Don't even worry about it. Because if you do that for the next 10 years of your life, you are going to be so much better off than people that are just not taking the chances. Hug your parents more, show a lot of love to everyone around you that you can. There's really nothing like that in life. There's this concept of be the beloved. The beloved is the person that is remembered far after their death. Be that person, embody that person.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Welcome back to another episode. With us today is a very special guest. He's a dentist, influencer, investor, artist, and philanthropist on a mission to change how we educate. Turab Rai, so excited to have you on. How you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. I am doing wonderful. It is 8 p.m. here Eastern time, so right at the end of the day, but I'm enjoying life. Thank you so
Nice.
much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. The pleasure's all ours. I'm so excited because you've been doing so many great things. You're accomplished. You have so much on your plate and you're still propelling forwards. Just to have that opportunity to share some of your wisdom with us, we appreciate that. So tell us more about your journey. What were you doing that kind of led you into the multiple hats that you're wearing today?
Dude, I've talked to a lot of older people, and the ones that I respect the most, I had this question, were you always like this? And almost every single time they say, yes, I was always like this. So, in a strange way, I think it's just a kind of a snowball effect of having this personality that's interested in a lot of different things. And just wanting to make an impact in my environment is the most important thing to me. It's like, I don't want to be like one of those people that just flies on the wall. I want to have an impact on people in society. So, I moved a lot in my life. Basically, I was born in Pakistan, somewhere around 4 years old. We moved to Canada because my mom was sick and tired of everyone basically paying their way to be on top. She was like, I want to go to a more merit-based society. So we moved to Canada, worked our way into the middle class. My mom and my dad were doing quite well for themselves. And my dad was starting to become a lawyer and having a successful real estate business alongside my mother. He passed away because he had hepatitis C on some accident or something that he got when he was in Pakistan. And we ended up moving a lot over the United States because my mom wanted to get her dental license so she could provide for these two kids. And I have an older brother. He's a physician as well. So in that process, I basically discovered that I did have a way of communicating with people. And for the most part, I could get some sort of a response out of my professors and out of my class. Usually, I try to do it in a positive way, not in a bullying way. And by virtue of moving so much, I also got quite a backbone when it came to bullies, too. I was like, I don't know if you watch Dragon Ball Z, but if you make a really scary face and you just look at someone really angry, they'll basically leave you alone. So I figured that out
They don't want
over
to
the
mess with
course.
that.
Yeah. I figured that out over the course of the moves. And then sometime in dental school in Temple University, right in North Philadelphia, I began to explore a lot more of my interest in creating clubs and organizations. Basically, every single time I moved to these different schools, I was like, okay, let's make a club. Let's see what we can do for the school. And I created the Health Sciences Music Club. I'm a musician. I don't know if you see in the background, but I have a drum kit. I have a keyboard right here and make music and stuff. So I made the Health Sciences Music Club because I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna be able to find musicians to jam with regularly. I had this idea of crafting this environment where these healthcare providers can go during lunch and they could hear some live music and maybe be in a better mood for the latter half of the day and changing the whole culture. I had this big scheme in my head, but I just didn't have the execution skills at the time to make it sustainable. And so experimentation again and again with these clubs and trying to make them sustainable and trying to make them meaningful, impactful. And then right in my senior year, I graduated after many of my classmates did because I just didn't adhere to the standards of the school, I guess, for a lot of reasons. Mainly, I was just like, what the hell does this matter? Like, my hand skills and my patient communication is better than most of these kids. But then I realized I needed the damn degree. So, in those 6 months that I stayed afterwards, I started really thinking about, hey, you claim in your head to be this talented guy. You have a lot of interests and you have some insights and ideas, and yet you're here while all of your class is gone. I grew this tremendous resentment for myself, and I was like, it's time to get your shit together, man. Get disciplined in some things. Like, don't be afraid of this money thing because it really does mean power and influence in society. I came across Grant Cardone's webinar or whatever, and I got into that stuff. So I got really excited. I made a lot of public health clubs and stuff in dental school. And I just realized that doctors in general are not particularly concerned about public health, even though that's really our mission. Doctor in Latin means teacher. So it's literally like a part of your identity. And when I got out of school, I have this amazing opportunity. My mom's a dentist here in Ohio. And she said, when you get out of school, come and work with me. And for better or worse, we've been working together for about a year and a half now. I've tripled the gross revenue of the practice since. I've started this national nonprofit. We actually just got mentioned by the mayor or the governor of Ohio, the national nonprofit, and he mentioned my name, which I was like, whoa, bro. But I was like, no,
Nice.
chill, keep working. I'm a big systems guy, just like yourself. I love technology. I love interacting with people. I love making a difference. And that just means getting into business and becoming a leader and starting all these different initiatives. So some of the things I'm working on right now is Turabify Network, which is like an internship for students nationally. If anyone wants to know about leadership development, Bright Smiles Community Outreach Coalition is the nonprofit that delivers a bunch of dental kits and educates the community, ideally going national as well. I'm a dentist. And then I'm also the chief marketing officer for a crypto company, a crypto finance company. That's super interesting. If anyone watching this podcast is into crypto, go ahead and drop Chris a DM and let us know how we can help you. But it's been exciting, man. It's a lot of work, but I feel like in our 20s and early 30s, we should be doing a lot of work. We should be figuring out what we're useful at.
Absolutely. That's an incredible journey. And it sounds very similar to myself and many other entrepreneurs where sometimes it's like we think we're bigger than we are, but we have to go with the flow of things, even if it doesn't feel like it's in our best interest. But when we get our stuff together and really put our foot forward, man, the things that we can accomplish when we really put our mind to it. And you're a testament to that. And I love that you're focusing on impact. You're giving back to the community. How can this be of even more value? It's not just about the exchange of money. Money can be a tool. It's powerful, but also there's additional value. What else can you leave behind? And I feel like that goes more into the legacy, the impact. This is what people should be focusing on in business, I feel like.
I think it makes the entire process of working your ass off a lot more satisfying. It's like, just today, there was one of my patients that was like, dude, I love what you guys do at the practice. I was like, bro, can I record that on a video so I can share it with my
Of
staff?
course.
We never get to hear that stuff. So I think you're going to end up working really hard anyway. You might as well do it for something that you really believe in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like mid-stage entrepreneurs are looking to find that. They're looking to do more, to give back. So it's not surprising to see many different initiatives start nonprofits or create educational content for people just to give back, which is excellent.
Yeah, I think a lot of the influencers online these days are about that whole giver's mentality. And I think it's for the betterment of humanity. I think there's probably an equal and opposite force out there, but I just don't interact with that very much. We got a lot of really good role models these days. All the big business people on Instagram, on YouTube, they're just giving out free game, big free game. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it almost makes me question, how can people not still find opportunity? I feel like the education is there, but maybe people are lacking the confidence or just the ability to execute. Maybe it's not the right time in their life to take on an initiative like that.
I don't know if you feel this way, but I think at some point, every human being just gets sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you're just like, bro, like I'm good. I need to go and do the other thing that's going to make me happy about being myself. And it
It's
could probably go both ways, right? It could be like you're really successful in corporate or something. And I know a good friend of mine is trying to branch into more entrepreneurship or just constant reassessment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for both people who are working jobs and entrepreneurs, it's okay to make a pivot. One decision now does not need to stick with you for the rest of your life. You can always change direction, go back to school, change anything that you want. I prefer to be in control. I like that. So the fact that we can educate others and empower them to make their own choices and control at least some of the outcome, that feels like the safer bet to me as opposed to working for someone. But I do understand the need. It's kind of like we have to be a part of the system first in order to branch out and support ourselves.
That's entirely fair, man. And I didn't have a normal 9 to 5 job, but I was definitely part of a system, the education system. And I don't think it's that much different than the real world. So I think it's interesting that you said that we have this chance to go out and branch. I think the reason that a lot of people don't take that chance, even if they have an inkling of something inside of them, is they're very risk averse. And one of my favorite quotes is the greatest risk to take is to not take any risks at all. Because necessarily the only constant is change, right? So by virtue of staying the same, you actually risk the most.
Yes, absolutely. And it's only once that feeling of staying the same becomes so uncomfortable, that change in itself, they're willing to make that change because they no longer want to stay the same. but it's really scary. It's something new, but this is us growing. That's an opportunity. If you feel uncomfortable, good. Get used to that feeling, because the more you push yourself, the more that you practice and exercise, you're going to become stronger.
Absolutely. And I see that guitar in the background. And I know Steely Dan, when I was watching some of their interviews, they're talking about how guitar players fly, right? That they're flying when they're soloing. And to me, a lot of this sense of taking risk is almost like flight. There's really no ground underneath you. There's probably far below you can get there, and you don't really know how high up you can go. You might have a sense of where you're going to go, but a lot of it is you're like a new bird. You're trying to figure out how to use your wings, navigate the wind currents. So I think it's a creative expression of humanity. You could go and do an art, or you can go and try to make your life into an art.
Well said. Now, I wanted to ask more about the marketing side of business, because taking a practice from 1 million to 3 million, super impressive. What was your strategy behind that growth? Was that going from a solo into multiple dentists? Was this just more marketing? What did you focus on?
So necessarily, it was my mother that was working there alone, and she had very little staff because she still basically doesn't like interacting with a lot of different people and teaching them all these things. But by virtue of having two dentists, you double the revenue potentially. And then also, Ohio had a 93% increase in the payments that we get through state insurance. So those two things paired together necessarily already meant that our revenue is going to increase. Now, I want to say that that's not the only reason, because obviously, if you're going to see more patients, you need to have more operations, more standardization. So basically, what I said was, okay, let's go out and spread out these dental kits, and let's go and interact with the facilities that would most likely have the type of patients that we're looking for. So what we did was, in the beginning, for about 6 months, Bright Smiles Community Outreach Coalition was just Franklin Dental Outreach, right? We would get all these toothbrushes and toothpaste. And one of my patients was talking to me about, I had some interns over the summer, and she heard us over talking, or she overheard us talking. I had a phone call or something. I just got out a phone call in the parking lot, and she walked by. She was like, I'm here. You might as well just hire me. But she gave us these great examples of reaching out to United Way and reaching out to the Boy Scouts and reaching out to all this stuff. My interns at the time were talking about nonprofits. I was like, we should totally go for profit. It'll make more sense. And then I ended up hiring her as the outreach coordinator for Franklin Dental. She brought on her team. We handed out thousands of kits. That led to partnerships with other dental practices that don't necessarily take Medicaid. So we got a lot of referrals from them. We were obviously seeing a lot more patients, so we got a lot of referrals from their friends and family. We were one of the only providers, and still basically are, of Medicaid in Ohio at the scale that we do. And so a lot of those efforts, I would say, for marketing in general, and the social media game, I'm still trying to kind of figure out, because there's this lead conversion aspect to it. But the thing that's worked for all of my mentors and the people that I respect is, you just got to get out there in your community. And if you're offering a service that you believe is valuable, there's a very good chance, and you actually like deliver on that, there's a very good chance that by referral or by curiosity or by need, that people are going to come to you. Then becomes the issue of fulfilling the promise that you put forward. And as long as you fulfill that promise and you ideally over deliver on that promise, there's no reason that your business is ever going to stop. But to stagnate in business is really just a decline. So there's always this kind of like this drive to like, okay, how do we get more patients? How do we get patients that pay more? How do we optimize our supplies so we don't spend as much money on the same level of treatment that we do? So it's important to think about all the little things. And the
Oh,
staff, I mean, I have fucking phenomenal staff. They are incredible human beings, and they just work their butts off, and they're really nice, and we could not do it without them.
nice. I think it's a testament. I know it was like the general marketing. A lot of people think advertising, social media, but networking is marketing. You hit the ground running. If this was guerrilla marketing, let's go introduce ourselves, provide value to people. And if they get value from this and we can create partnerships and referrals, well, then that's great. And that obviously started to work. And then it's the fulfillment piece, but taking it beyond that, all the reviews and referrals that you get from those, that should create this self-sustaining cycle, as you said, where you really don't have to do as much maintenance into marketing, or you don't have to do these big campaigns. It should be working on autopilot for you. So it's all the great elements and pillars of business, kind of just, hey, let's throw away the things that really don't work, more of the vanity stuff. Let's go hit the ground running where the rubber meets the road. And that's how you built through marketing and networking.
And just to be clear, we've spent a lot of money on marketing. And any company that's looking to grow needs to spend some money on marketing and needs to figure it out. And the other thing that I wanted to say to those that are listening, that you make it sound so easy. I spent $500,000 getting the education that I have in order to be that useful for society. So there's a reason that dentists get paid a lot, is because not very many people know how to do what dentists do. So that's the other thing, is like, you got to get some sort of technical skill that no one can touch and no one can question. And that's the
Yeah.
execution part of it. Business ain't easy. That's not what I'm saying at
No.
all. Yeah.
It's like the more you invest, the more expenses, the revenue has to be higher. So there's this balance. Hopefully you can get that return where after X amount of years, you can say, hey, this is worth it, making this type of income. And it's interesting from just the billing and payment side aspect of dentistry versus what the other practices in healthcare have become. I feel like dentistry is still one of the more affordable for most private pay people. They could still afford that out of pocket without needing an insurance plan. Whereas I feel the hospital prices may be overinflated or they're not working on efficiency. I feel like dentistry has taken a different route and it's remained affordable for most Americans and people in general.
I would like to have more insight on that, because obviously I'm a Medicaid provider for the most part. When the American Dental Association communicate internally, they don't talk about state insurance as insurance. They talk about it as benefits, because they're not paying anything. None of the people that have Medicaid are paying any money to have Medicaid. They just qualify, and then there's like this whole system that basically pays out these providers. So in a big way, I'm very thankful for that system. Obviously, it's been a major part of my revenue. And in terms of the affordability, it's hard to say, because for my practice, a crown is $1,800. Now, at other practices, right, a crown can be 3,600, whatever. So it all depends on the market. It all depends on what type of patients you want to serve, how much money you want to make, how much money matters to you, how much of an impact you want to make. It was lasting. One of my mentors, he was telling me about a doctor that started his own practice and he made a lot of money. He was telling me about where he started, and he would always say that, dude, this guy gave out so much free medical care, like hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of his lifespan. That's why he's rich, Turab. It's not because he was gunning after money. He was rich because he encapsulated the idea of wealth, and wealth requires you to give. Then the stuff comes to you because you deserve it.
What does success and wealth mean to you?
Just means having a voice. I think if you value your philosophy in life, and if you value the way that your soul is, the way that you make people feel, it's almost an obligation to become wealthy, to become powerful. And there's a basic thing that I'll say changed my entire perception on the socioeconomic classes. This is directly from Grant Cardone. Poor people spend money, middle class people save money, rich people invest money. Now that in itself is a thing. And middle class, by the way, if you're saving money all the time, or your parents are saving money all the time and you think you're wealthy, you're probably middle class. Rich people invest money. Wealthy people give money away. Isn't that strange? That for some reason, giving things away to people with an open heart is more valuable than investing it. And wealth to me is really just an abundance of things, right? It's like, I want to have opportunities. I want to have smiles and love and laughter around. I want to have cool experiences. And when I'm older, I want to be able to say that I've done something for my community. I think wealth and virtue can actually be very closely associated. That's kind of why it matters to me.
Absolutely. Because I hear from a lot of other entrepreneurs and I'll ask them, what are your goals? And I'll hear some of them say, take over the world. I'm like, what do you mean? Take over the world, like control everybody or like make a bunch of money? What does that mean? So when I ask these questions about your goals or what success or wealth means, it's like, where is your intention at? Where is your heart at? And does this match my energy and your vibe? Because I feel like there are people who focus on the money and to get there in any way and means possible, where they're willing to step on each other in order to lift and elevate themselves, as opposed to all boats rise with the tide. So could we help motivate and encourage fellow entrepreneurs, whether they're direct competition to us or not? I feel like that still brings us together and makes us stronger together.
I couldn't agree more, man. Money is an amplifier, right? If you're an asshole, it will amplify your asshole, right? If you're a
Yeah.
kind, nice person, you get more money, it will amplify that kindness. It's just a matter of What do you want to do with that time? What do you want to do with all that energy and life that you have inside of you? It's all core values and stuff. And the reason I even got on this podcast and the reason that we had this conversation is you always have this big smile on your face, dude. You're always laughing at stuff and you just have this vibe where there's compassion embedded deeply inside of you. It exudes out of you.
I
It's
appreciate that. Thank
magnetic,
you.
man. It's magnetic.
I was
Straight
going
up.
to ask likewise for you with your charisma. Do you find it having a positive impact or effect on the people you interact with, whether it's your dental patients or business relations? Do people start to pick up on just your charisma and start to feed off of that energy too? And do you notice other people mimicking you as well now?
I think in order to stay humble, I'll downplay this as much as possible. I think the most important thing, if anyone is looking to influence people, would that book Make Friends and Influence People? I don't know if I even read that book. I think I read a couple pages of it, but my assessment is if you just take on some responsibility and just tackle an amount of commitment that feels good to you, your self-worth and your character and everything will build itself. You can't fake for so long. You can't fake your shit. You have to do it. You have to do the work, and then you will earn other people's attention. That's all that really matters. The things that you're doing when no one's watching you. It's definitely had an impact on my surrounding for sure. And it's had an impact for a long time. I've genuinely enjoyed having that impact on people and asking them weird questions. There was like an entire phase in high school that I would sit there and literally find interesting people and psychoanalyze them in front of a group of high school students. And everyone would be like, that was some shit. It's always been fun.
That is so cool. So where can people find you online and get connected with you to find your channels and learn more about you?
So Turabify is my personal brand, Turabify. You can connect with me any way you'd like over there. If you're interested in the charity thing, it's called Bright Smiles Community Outreach Coalition. It's based out of Ohio. If you're interested in crypto, again, you can go into Turabify or email me that way. And then there's obviously Franklin Dental Care and Dentures. If you're a dentist or if you're some sort of administration that you're interested in building this thing that's going to affect millions and millions of lives, you can go and check me out there. But again, Chris, thank you so much. We're going to be doing a lot of fun work together, I'm sure, over the years.
Save here. And we will have those links available down in the show notes and the description for everybody here. Now, I have a couple more questions if you have some time. I just want to ask, if you had to go back in time and tell yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Fail more.
That's a good one, but why?
Like, who the hell cares, dude? Go and just fuck everything up. Seriously, all the time.
There's just rampage Hulk all the time.
Go and just mess all of the things up that you're overthinking right now. Just go and mess it up. Don't even worry about it. Because if you do that for the next 10 years of your life, you are going to be so much better off than people that are just not taking the chances. Hug your parents more. Show a lot of love to everyone around you that you can. There's really nothing like that in life. There's this concept of be the beloved. The beloved is the person that is remembered far after their death. Be that person. Embody that person. That's what I would say.
I absolutely love that. Now, how many science centers and libraries do you think they'll name after you in 30, 40 years?
Dude, if I could get Turabify in the dictionary, I'd be good.
What do you classify it as? Is it a noun? Is it a verb? Is it a way you feel? Is it a way you live?
For someone that enjoys reading and writing, I don't know my grammatical things, but in my opinion, it would be like to return it to soil. Because Turab in Arabic actually means soil and happiness. So it's not this narcissistic brand, but a lot of it has to do with ecology and nature and like exactly what you were saying that higher tide raises all boats. It's the same philosophy. You enrich the soil and you'll watch the shit grow.
Wow. To return to soil. And from that, growth happens. You plant the seed. Wow. That's even deeper than I thought. That is excellent. It's so cool. So what are you planning for in 2025? You have a lot of things going on currently. Are you just staying the course with everything you have going on? Or do you have maybe 3 to 5 year goals that you're going to be focusing on that you're willing to share with us?
So for dentistry, my goal in the next 5 years, I should aim big. I want to have 10 dental practices. and all throughout this Western Ohio area. And I want every single one of them to be giving 10% of their profits to the nonprofit to be able to actually ship out millions of dental kits. That's my dental mission. As far as the Web3 and crypto space, in the next 5 years, I want to give the average person a lot more access to the information to utilize Web3 technology and really understand where it's useful and how to integrate it into regular life. I think we're moving really fast in that direction. I think it's very important for young people, especially, to get a little bit of information for that. As far as Turabify, the Turabify network, which is an internship network for high school and college students, in the next 5 years, I would love to have 5,000 dedicated students, and for all of them to be functioning together and getting great jobs and building businesses together and really just overall making the world a better place. And I would like that to be an international program because I want people also to be interacting across these barriers that we've made. So those are my 5-year goals. A little ambitious, but we'll see how that goes. Maybe not ambitious compared to someone watching this.
I feel like it's right in between. It's absolutely perfectly ambitious, but not overly ambitious. It's doable. Definitely doable.
I hope so. It's just going to require every day.
Every day, as you've been doing for the last X amount of years, and just keep doing the same thing. But it's ambitious. And I love that you're trying to bring resources together for the middle school, high school age era, because influential on their life, they're learning life lessons that will be carried with them into early adulthood there. So to have some sort of leadership program or a mentorship to come together for that, I think is going to be so impactful. Have you had very impactful mentors that have kind of like shown you the way or provided opportunities that you feel like you just want to give them a little shout out?
A little correction on the Turabify network. I have started out specifically with college students currently. I would love to have high school and middle school students, but I just don't think they have the attention span, and I don't have quite the understanding of what they're going through. I feel like 28 years old, I'm a little disconnected. So as far as my mentors, Dr. Manley Mincer, Dr. Richard Ram, Mr. John Moore, Mr. Dury, my English teacher in Lexington High School. God, I could name infinite, man. Uncles, aunts, my mom's older brother, Amr Sharif, who is a renowned psychiatrist in London. I could just go on. All the books that I've read, like, you're building on the shoulders of giants, and let someone build on your shoulder, for God's sake.
I love it.
Like,
Turab, is there anything else that I haven't? Go ahead.
No, you're good. Just saying incredible human beings and great questions, Chris, as per you.
Hey, thank you. Again, with like Brainwork Framework, we're trying to get inside the minds of entrepreneurs, see what's been impactful for them, their mentors. I feel like I owe a great deal of credit to my mentors who just kind of gave me some ideas and showed me the way, and that opened up way more possibilities and opportunities. And that the fact that other people they come and go from your life, but they're always there for a moment for a reason. So as long as you have that as a lesson or a teaching moment, I feel like it can help build you up. And like you said, just build on the shoulders of everyone else, and you become that next pedestal, the next shoulder to stand on.
I mean, I could tell your wisdom is beyond your years, my friend. You had to get it from somewhere.
I'm getting it from great people like you, man. The more people I interact with, we just build off good energy, good ideas here. So it's refreshing to have that, because with the craziness and negativity in the world that we experience, to have real human connection with people who are like-minded, who want to have impact with a real heart, it's like, wow, it doesn't feel like many of those people are out there, or you just don't see them as often. There's a lot of negativity that exists.
I guess on the last thing I'd say specifically about networking is I've moved a lot, and I've seen a lot of places. I've had the luxury of doing that. There is gold everywhere. I promise you. They're probably in your backyard. Just go into your garden and look around. In the cities, in the worst cities in the world, there's gold. The positivity, you will feel it. It feels like the sun. You'll feel it. Go towards it and try to shake its hand or something. You know what I mean? Get you some of that. That's good.
Yes. Feed off that energy. Let the sun, just bask in the sun a bit. Feel the rays, that energy. And the more that we can take in ourselves, the more we'll be able to give back to replenish others, I think, and hope and feel. But that's just me. Turab, I appreciate you coming onto the show, sharing your wisdom, inspiring others, entrepreneurs, and our audience. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. I can't wait to do more. I got to have you on my podcast.
That sounds great, man. We just become best friends. Yep. Thank you.
Easy peasy, baby.
I love it.
Oh
Thank
my
you so
God.
much.
Yeah, my pleasure, dude. Anytime.